Hi, Facebook friends. Helen Arcantu here, CEO of the YWCA of Northern New Jersey. So happy to have some time with you. We're ending the week together on Friday with some great ladies. I'm so happy to have this time with you today. It's been a very busy week for YWTV. We've had some amazing, really impactful conversations. If you missed it, I would definitely go back and check out our town hall on systemic racism that we did on Wednesday evening. It was amazing and very, very thought provoking, a lot of good information. Yesterday, we had a wonderful showcase for our Share the Mic Now project. We had Sherelle Gross, where we talked a lot about mentoring Black women and how to support them. And it's been a great week. It's been a great week. And now we're ending with a topic that's near and dear to my heart for sure. And wanted to just make sure those of you out in the community were aware of how COVID has impacted the nonprofit community. We are definitely in a time where our services are being called on even more, but our resources are definitely strapped. And for organizations like the YWCA of Northern New Jersey, there have definitely been some guardian angels that have swooped in to help us through this time. And I wanted to make sure that our community knew about the challenges that your favorite nonprofits may be having in case I know everyone has so much on their mind right now, but in case you have some bandwidth to think about it, we wanted to make sure you were aware. And we also wanted to make sure you were aware about where you could provide support as well. So with that, I would like to introduce our speakers. We're going to start with Miss Linda Sispo, who is the Executive Director of the Center for Nonprofits. And I'm just looking here. There it is. She is the the CEO and President of the Center for Nonprofits, which is New Jersey's statewide umbrella association for the charitable community. The center strengthens charities individually and collectively through advocacy, public education, management, compliance assistance, and membership services. The YWCA of Northern New Jersey is a member, and I can share that we definitely use and utilize their resources between their staff, their wonderful database of information through their website, and the great leadership of Linda. Her nonprofit sector experience spans over 30 years and includes expertise in public policy analysis, research, compliance, and management. She gives frequent presentations and interviews regarding New Jersey's nonprofit sector and current emergent trends for nonprofits, and she's successfully mobilized broad-based coalitions and numerous advocacy efforts. She serves on the Public Policy Committee for the National Council of Nonprofits and the New Jersey Commission on National and Community Service and the Leadership and Policy Committee of the Council of New Jersey Grantmakers. And we are so lucky to have Linda in the state of New Jersey. She is a force, and for those of us in the nonprofit sector, we know that she always has our back. So with that, Linda, could you share with our viewers a little bit about how nonprofits are doing during this time? What are we seeing?
And I'm sure this will come as no surprise. First of all, thank you for having me. Thank you for all the work that you and the YWCA are doing day in, day out. We really are lucky to have you. In terms of the nonprofit community and COVID-19, no secret, the pandemic has wreaked havoc on the communities that nonprofits serve, first and foremost, but also on the organizations. We just released our third COVID-19 survey, which we conducted in partnership with the Council of New Jersey Grantmakers, and it just underscored the impact that we're seeing. Nearly all of our respondents said that the pandemic has been having a moderate to severe effect on their programs and operations. And this takes the form of so many different things: canceled programs, canceled events, the need to shift and provide services in different ways, the need to adapt procedures in order to provide services safely. The budgetary impacts have been tremendous. Nearly, 85% of our respondents said that they had to cancel programs and events. And of course, that means that revenue is taking a nosedive. about 60% of our respondents said that they are already experiencing reduced donations from corporations, foundations, and individuals, because obviously as people's circumstances are changing, they're finding it more difficult to make a gift. So there's much more there, and unfortunately, because this is not a linear kind of event like a natural disaster, which of course is bad in and of itself, this is a very different thing, and it is completely unprecedented. So there are a lot of different moving parts that charities have been providing enormous services, so vital. It's times like these when the importance of nonprofits really takes the center stage, and hopefully people are in a position to support them.
Yeah, and I just want to share from the YWCA's perspective, just to give some sense to our viewers. Services like our Healing Space program, which is our Sexual Violence Resource Center, as we've shared on past broadcasts. Overnight, we literally went from being in the office to virtually providing our support to survivors that are showing up in the emergency rooms, all of our counseling services, all of our prevention efforts for schools and for groups. Overnight we had to do that, and we also had to add job services for our sexual violence survivors to help them get placed into programs. There was a lot of need for case management. Many of them ended up with COVID and had issues with being able to get food and pay bills. So we helped manage those issues. In addition to all of that, a lot of our programming, for example, for seniors, was involved with helping create a lot of social activity for seniors, as well as health and wellness activity. We moved all of those virtually as well, and I have to say they're booming, and we have even more seniors signing up for these workshops. And obviously, just because of what's happened during this time, our racial justice work has skyrocketed, although it's work that we do every day. So it's very interesting, and I know I'm just sharing our experience, but we've had a lot of other nonprofits on our show over the last few months, and everyone we've had on and those we haven't have all shared the same scenarios. Our revenue streams, many of them have halted because they were linked to activities that have stopped. For us, a lot of them were school-based activities, and with schools stopping, they obviously impacted us. And a lot of our fundraisers, our galas, our donor events have all hit a halt. So it's definitely been challenging.
And
So what's Linda on that front would you like to share?
No, I was just going to underscore the racial disparities with respect to the impact of the virus, and it cannot be overstated. And that's critical to keep in mind as we look at the effects that the pandemic is having, and also how we respond to it.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So Linda, sit tight. We're going to come back to you in a minute. I wanted to bring on two of our other guests who we're so grateful to have with us. We have Shelley Wimfimer with us, who is again, I'm fortunate. All three of these ladies I consider friends. So, a longtime friend, actually a mentor also for me, Shelley, a community partner. Since 2013, she's been the executive director of Community Chest, a nonprofit organization that's been in existence in Bergen County since 1933. And her past experience includes serving as ED for PACE, the Partnership for After School Education of the YMCA of Greater New York. And prior to joining the YMCA, she served as the executive director of the Division of Family Guidance in Bergen County. She was there when I was an intern. I learned a lot from Shelley when I was there. She's also been an adjunct professor at Rutgers University School of Social Work Continuing Education Department. She's also been an executive coach for the last 4 years in middle and senior management for the Division of Child Protection and Permanency, the New Jersey Department of Children and Families, and the New Jersey Department of Human Services. She serves on lots of nonprofit boards where she's held leadership positions and several national and statewide boards, and especially a lot of work I know that she's done with National Association of Social Workers. So you obviously are very entrenched in the community of nonprofits. We also have with us, joining us, and thank you for coming, Samantha Platino, who we're a big fan of Samantha because she used to be part of the YWCA family. And now she has gone on to be the executive director of the Provident Bank Foundation, and we're so proud of her. But today she joins us in the capacity of being a voting member for Women United in Philanthropy, which is a giving circle, a unique giving circle here in New Jersey. So, ladies, I invited both of you to join us because I wanted the community to understand that the way that a lot of the nonprofits really have survived have been from different initiatives that we've been able to, um, gather from funding that were kind of emergency funding that Hi, Facebook friends. Helen Arcon, CEO of the YWCA of Northern New Jersey. We're back, as happens, and it's Friday, so thank God it's Friday. Technology sometimes fails us, but what has not failed us in the nonprofit sector are foundations and funds like the Community Chest and Women United in Philanthropy. They have been by our side at the nonprofit sector and have really stepped in during this time of crisis when we as nonprofits are being asked to do more work, and yet as we shared, if you saw the first part of our broadcast, our funds and our revenue from our revenue generating programs has really, really taken a hit with everything that's going on. So, Shelley, let's start with you. Could you share a little bit about the Community Chest and the work that it does? And then I'll ask Samantha to do the same about Women United, and then we can talk a little bit about how you stepped in during this time.
Okay, great. So we've been around since 1933. We were started during the Great Depression by a group of Englewood neighbors who were very concerned that other neighbors were really experiencing tremendous economic hardship, losing their homes, etc., similar to things that are happening now. And a group of citizens got together and actually walked door to door, knocking on people's doors. 450 people participated. Wow. And they raised, back then in 1933, $116,000, which was a huge amount of money.
Wow.
But I think one of the things that it did was it really demonstrated that people really do care about their neighbors and are really willing to help even in very difficult times. And it's kind of been an inspiration for us over the years to keep going. And we use pretty much the same model, which is raising money from individuals and businesses, and then granting that money out to local nonprofits. So just to give you an idea of scope, we give out between $150,000 and $200,000 a year, mostly in small grants, about 20 to 25 grantees a year. And maybe later on, Helen would want me to talk about the coronavirus work this time, but I'll hold that for later.
Yeah, we'll definitely get into that. Thank you. And that's amazing. I don't think I know that, I knew how long you've been around, but I never heard the story about the knocking on doors and raising 116,000. That's amazing.
It's a remarkable story about people's generosity.
Yes.
And I think the other thing is, and the uniqueness of this community to be willing to do that.
Yeah.
And there have been many community chests really throughout New Jersey, but throughout the country, and most of them did not survive. So it's really a testimonial to the generosity of people in this particular area.
Yes, yes. Well, we see a similar commitment to the Women United in Philanthropy, the women that are in the giving circle there. So Samantha, welcome.
Thank you.
Share a little bit about the unique circle that you all have?
Absolutely. So Women United in Philanthropy is dedicated to promoting economic power and well-being of women. It was founded by Bergen County women for Bergen County women, with the focus on making local investment in local programs and solutions to help local women achieve economic security. Membership in the Giving Circle is extended to women who contribute $1,000 annually, and we pool our funds and vote on making one high impact grant each year. Over our history, we were founded in 2005. We've raised and administered $1 million in grants, averaging anywhere from $60,000 up to $100,000 each year. And what we've also been able to do is knit a safety net, our network of nonprofits in our community through liaisons from our membership who build relationships, sustained long-term relationships with our nonprofit partners, which allow us to be able to quickly go back and respond with confidence when we can ask our partners, what do you need? And they tell us what their needs are. And that has really helped us in this pandemic and with the crisis and being able to respond.
So, and I can say as a nonprofit organization that has been the beneficiary of funds from both of these organizations that, you know, these are two truly unique entities. They not only just provide a check, you know, for a service that, you know, that you have, you know, sent a grant in for, but they provide a tremendous amount of support. You know, Community Chest does a lot of training for the nonprofit community, really high quality training at low to no cost. Mostly no cost, quite frankly. And it is, you know, really something and a resource that, you know, all of our teams, our leadership have really benefited from. And I can also say from Women United and Philanthropy, at times when our organization needed counsel and support in very specific areas like business strategy, board development, you know, the group has come together and, you know, rallied around us. And that was just as valuable as the dollars from both of these organizations, you know, what they've been able to provide for us. So it's not surprising to me, knowing how you both operate, that when COVID hit, that both of your, you know, funds, you know, rallied and figured out how to help. Can you talk a little bit, we'll start with Shelley, you know, about how you responded when you saw what was going on, you know, in the community?
Well, as Helen mentioned, we're, you know, very connected to our grantees. And so I had been speaking to everybody and hearing what everybody's situation was. And it was increasingly concerning about, sorry, the phone is ringing in the background.
Life, don't worry.
There's nobody here to answer it, so it'll stop ringing. So, you know, I started to hear what people were saying, and I thought, oh my goodness, well, we really need to do something to help. So I went to my board and I said, we really need to change the way we grant our money this year. And I think we have to be more nimble and more flexible and try to respond quickly, because the agencies are responding quickly. It was actually, I have to say, so remarkable the way really all of the agencies were able to pivot and start practically with little interruption, serving people in a different way and very effectively. So my board was very understanding about this, and we decided to do a new campaign quickly. So we ramped up and did a campaign, and were able to make 13 grants within, I think, about 6 weeks from beginning to end, all newly raised money. So I have to say, back again to the generosity of the community, we reached out to the community and said, our nonprofits are hurting. We need your help. And they responded really so generously, and we were very excited about that. So that was the first emergency relief.
Yeah, well, we were excited too, I have to say, because it was wonderful to get that support and just that call that the support, you know, was coming. Now, Samantha, Women United and Philanthropy did something similar. Can you tell us how you all you did your pivot, I guess, as well?
Sure, absolutely. So when the pandemic first got to New Jersey, Bergen County was right in the epicenter, as was one of our nonprofit partners, Holy Name Medical Center in Teaneck. And what we were hearing from them was just devastating in their response, and having to care for so many people so quickly and turn things around, but without the necessary equipment that they needed. And then what we started to see was that communities of color in particular were being disproportionately impacted by the pandemic. And then as the economic crisis started to unfold, we were seeing that particularly women, female heads of household, women with children, women living below the poverty line were severely, severely affected. And that is when we decided to answer the call. Some of the intel that we were getting from our community partners was that those immediate needs to help with the pivot to make sure that they could continue to provide services was necessary. WHOOPS funding traditionally helps to fund a dream, something big, something new an organization wants to do, but we realized that this was not the time to do that. Now is the time to be practical and help to respond to the crisis in a very impactful and quick way. And so we went back to the membership and we were able to make the necessary changes in 2020 to respond. And again, to use a word that Shelley mentioned, nimble, our nimble structure and being able to have the flexibility because we are voting members all together, we were able to do this. And so we had a very uniform response from our membership. And in just the past 4 weeks or so alone, we have raised more money from our members in that same period of time than in years past. And what we were also very happy about is as we started reaching out to other foundations in our community, and we had lots of conversation with Shelley as well, is that there were other funders who were thinking like us. And so we have been very fortunate that in addition to our members' response to contributing funds to our grant pool, we've also had a $20,000 match from the Foundation of Northern New Jersey. And later, through one of our members, we're able to also work with Freedom Bank on another $25,000 match through a partnership and helping them to make their philanthropic gifts within Bergen County. Other foundations know that through our structure, we really do have our finger on the pulse of what's going on in Bergen County, and they trust us and they trust, again, that safety net and those relationships that we've built to help make very educated and well-informed philanthropic gifts. And since then, we have given out $60,000 in grants to 12 of our nonprofit partners. And because they've already been vetted, because we have partnered with them before, it was very easy, again, for us to respond quickly because we knew these were the groups getting the work done. We had these relationships and we knew that every dollar that we could give out and grant was going to really make an impact.
Well, I'm so grateful to both of your entities, and I think I speak on behalf of everyone that you've both funded. And it really, really helped us through this time. I'd like to bring Linda into the conversation too. Let's add one more square to the box, and there she is. Hey, Linda, how are you? So, Linda, obviously the support and the nimbleness and flexibility of funds like Women United in Philanthropy and the Community Chest, has been key, at a time like this for nonprofits. Could you speak a little bit about some of the other services and programs that have popped up that have also been a saving grace, if you will, like the Paycheck Protection Act and other smaller loans?
Sure. That's one of the other critical parts of how we can navigate this crisis and emerge hopefully somewhat healthy on the other side, physically healthy, but in terms of nonprofits, sustainably healthy. Government response has been absolutely critical, and on the federal level, there have been a variety of programs enacted. One of the ones that has been most successful in terms of its use and being a real lifeline is the Paycheck Protection Program, which provides forgivable loans to employers of mostly under 500 that to keep employees on the payroll. And many nonprofits have applied successfully for those loans. The program has changed and been relaxed over the weeks in terms of the eligibility and how the funds can be used and during what time frame. There are still some things that we'd like to see changed to make it more accessible to even more organizations. But for many, that has been the difference between having to lay off staff and being able to keep them and being able to provide key programming. So that's a huge one. But there were other changes in terms of extra funding, the extension of the unemployment benefits, which hopefully will be extended again, and much, much more in terms of assistance to individuals, but also assistance to the organizations that are providing services. The other one that's really important that we want to see expanded is extra tax incentives for charitable giving, especially for people who don't itemize on their taxes. This has been a huge concern ever since tax reform was passed in 2017. The fact that the standard deduction was raised, which means fewer people can take charitable giving deductions than used to be able to. And there's been a huge push on the national level by, hundreds and thousands of nonprofit advocates, and we are certainly part of those efforts to expand charitable giving deductions so that more people will be able to give to charity. Because in this pandemic, giving has absolutely suffered because people are having a hard time and need to watch every penny, and there's less discretionary income in many cases.
So for those of you watching, I want you to know that we'll be linking in the comments of this broadcast links to Women United in Philanthropy, the Community Chest, and the Center for Nonprofits. And I do encourage you to follow their social media, websites, and learn about their work. Linda, for those that will check with about how can they help, and obviously writing a check would be one way, whether it's directly to a nonprofit that you believe in or to a fund like Women United or the Community Chest, for sure. But especially if people don't have the funds readily available but want to be part of supporting this network of social support for our community, are there any bills or any legislation that they should really be calling and making some noise about to help support?
Yes, there are several, but I'm going to focus on just a couple right now. On the federal level, that there is a coalition which has been using the hashtag relief for the number 4 charities. So if you want to search for that, you can find all sorts of information about comprehensive legislation that this coalition is supporting. One piece in particular on the federal level is called the Universal Giving Pandemic Response Act, and we can provide links to the numbers and whatnot. But this would raise, right now under the federal legislation that was passed, the CARES Act that established the Paycheck Protection Program and other things, non-itemizers can deduct up to $300 off their tax returns if they give to charity. It's a temporary deduction. It's only for gifts made this year, and it's certainly a help, but we all know that more is needed. So this bill would raise that $300 cap to about $4,000 for individuals or $8,000 for couples. That's about a third of the value of the standard deduction, and that level of giving would be much, much more substantial. It's still temporary, but it would be such a lifeline in the during this pandemic. So that's something that asking your representative in Congress, asking our 2 U.S. senators to get behind that and really push for that as part of any of there's one more COVID-19 package that's making its way through Congress. So that's absolutely key. Another bill, I'm going to shift down to the state level. The Center for Nonprofits has been working for quite some time to enact a state level charitable giving deduction. New Jersey is one of a minority of states that doesn't have one. And especially now when nonprofits are really hurting and people are turning to them more and more, and quite frankly, government is turning to them more and more, we need that kind of shot in the arm that a state charitable giving deduction would give. There is legislation, S2360, sponsored by Senators Kaine and Singleton, would allow a state level taxpayers to take an income tax deduction off their state taxes of up to $10,000 for individuals and $20,000 for couples. For nonprofits, it's only during the pandemic, so it is time limited, but it would be available whether you itemize on your federal return or not, and that's really, really important. There is a companion bill in the Assembly, A4183. The Senate bill passed the Senate back in May, so both of these bills are in the Assembly Appropriations Committee. So contacting Assembly Speaker Coughlin and Assemblyman John Berzacelli, who is the chair of the Appropriations Committee, to get them to move this legislation would be really, really helpful. And we can provide much more information, and there's more on our website about that too.
That's wonderful. And as I shared, we will link the websites for all three of these organizations here. And we'll specifically go back and link the advocacy page in addition to the Center for Nonprofits so that folks can go there. And again, we understand that it's a challenging time and everyone's not in a position that they can write a check right now, whether it's, again, to a nonprofit or to one of these, wonderful funds or others that are like them. But, making a call to your senators or to, your local state representatives on some of these issues is very valuable as well and really does help support the entire New Jersey nonprofit network. So we do appreciate and encourage you to take action. So ladies, as we're kind of closing out, I always like to end with a little bit of inspiration for, the group that we're always talking to. So, maybe, it would be great if you could, Shelley, before we do this, let us know, how are you doing your giving for your next cycle? And then I know Samantha's been coming in and out. We're having some technological issues, but hopefully we'll get her back. Shelley, can you share how you're doing your next cycle?
Yes. So we are, as I said, we've sort of changed our whole cycle this year. So we have an RFP out right now again, but it's different than it has been in past years. In past years, agencies could apply for programs that they wanted to see, to receive some support for. But this year, all of our grants will be for COVID-related expenses. So it's out now. We've already gotten, I saw like 8 responses yesterday that came in. They have, I think, 2 more weeks to return them. But the hope is that we would really be able to help the agencies handle these unanticipated expenses. I just saw one the other day that I thought was so unbelievable. One agency in the last 3 months had $279,000 in expenses for PPEs.
Yeah, I can believe that. And I just want to share, a lot of our staff is still working remotely. We do have certain programs that we are supporting, like our lifeguarding program and for the city of Englewood, that our staff is, out in the field now. But all of our essential services and our other programs are all working remotely. In order for us to get back in the office, and this, quite frankly, was just doing the minimum to be able to keep, when I say the minimum, I mean, making sure we had the plexiglass in place, making sure we had all of our masks, someone that would be on staff to do the temperature taking, all of the staff, just to bring the staff back in safely. And this was, it was all the measures to keep us safe, but I just want to be clear, nothing outstanding, like, extra bells and whistles. Yes. And that alone was about $25,000. And when you go back to this conversation and think about how strapped we are for cash, and yet we want to be able to get back to, functioning, and supporting the community again, that's money that's, very, very challenging to, so for us, a lot of our staff is still working remotely until we can work through some of those challenges. So I believe it. And, we all very much appreciate the support, whether it's coming through one of the agencies or whether it's coming from a direct donation to us. I know that, Samantha's been coming in and out. They, again, sorry, it's probably weather related here in New Jersey. For those of you watching, though, we're having a little bit of sprinkles outside. And and she's back just in time.
Sorry.
That's okay. As I said, with the technology, it's Friday. Even YWTV wants the weekend to come quickly. So Samantha, tell us a little bit before I ask my last question, a little bit about why Women United in Philanthropy is looking for in terms of giving, from here, from the community.
Sure. So the giving that we've done so far, we only consider phase one. We're certainly not done. And so we are, of course, always welcoming additional membership. But we are also maintaining our collaborative mindset. We want to continue to work with our nonprofit partners, with our funding partners, to have the next conversation about helping to sustain the economic and well-being of our nonprofits moving forward. We know a lot of organizations have missed out on their annual fundraisers, and now the impact is not just on the triage immediate response, it is now hopefully going to be moving towards recovery, and how do we continue to keep supporting those organizations. So please, reach out to us, because we are looking to continue on with the conversations and making impact.
Well, thank you. And again, I encourage everyone to, check out the links as we post them here. So one final question for everyone, because I like to leave a little inspiration for whatever group that we're talking to. So for the nonprofit sector that may be watching, those of us that are, in the field, boots on the ground, doing the work right now, and some are literally boots on the ground. Some of us are doing it from behind a computer screen, but whatever it is, we're out there. What are some parting thoughts that you'd like to share to the nonprofit community? Shelley?
When you were saying that, I was looking over on my wall at this little quote that I love and use a lot. And so maybe I could read you this little quote because I find it inspirational. Give me 1 second so I can
get it off the wall.
Okay. The quote is, "Nobody need wait a single moment before starting to improve the world." And it's a quote from Anne Frank.
Well, thanks for leaving us with that, Shelley. Sam?
Speaking from the funders' perspective as well, just want nonprofits to know that you are not alone. We are here for you. We are here to support you. And we are doing everything that we can to make sure that we keep you all around, because we know that while we're able to provide the dollars and cents, it is really you all doing the work and making the impact. And we couldn't do what we do if you were not there to do the work.
Thank you. Linda?
Just a word of thanks for everything. Nonprofits are always stepping up, especially when, but never only when times are at their worst. And again, to emphasize that, no, you're not alone. We are in this together. There are important messages to be conveyed to funders and leadership and policymakers, and we can do that together as well. We know that this is an unprecedented time, and it's not a linear kind of thing, as I said before, but what nonprofits do is needed now more than ever. And that's how we will get through this. We will get through it by working together, by speaking out together, and by pushing for change together.
Well, I really want to thank all three of you for taking the time and having the patience with the technology to get through this conversation. I hope that we have brought some light to the community on an area that maybe they hadn't thought of in the midst of everything that's going on. And I know for myself, who have spent my whole career working in nonprofits, a good part of my motivation and the joy of it all for me, not only comes from the service to the community, but the community of nonprofits that has always stood together. And none of us do it alone. We all are like puzzle pieces, as I say, that interlock together, and that's how we are there for the community. So when you give to one of us, you really ultimately give to all of us. So I do encourage anyone that if you can find the dollars. You know, this is a great time to think about supporting your favorite nonprofit, whether it's the YWCA of Northern New Jersey or another one of the great organizations. There's so many of them out in the community, and everyone's working very hard right now to support. And if you want to think about giving your gift in a little different way, definitely consider the community chest. Definitely consider Women in United and Philanthropy or other organizations and funds like these. Again, we'll have links here for you to connect with them. It really does take a village to do this work, and I'm grateful to be in it with these three ladies for sure on my end. And with that, we hope, thank you for joining us this week for, again, all of the great conversations that we've had. It's always, always something inspirational, educational, or enlightening for sure that we try to leave you with. Monday, I hope you can join us at 4 p.m. We'll be having a conversation about seeking justice for Vanessa and talking about how it's so important to do that and how it will impact women in the military being safe from sexual harassment and sexual violence. And we have some great speakers to talk with you about that issue. And we also have a whole full week of other great conversations, from there. So please join us. If for some reason there was someone in your life that you think really would have enjoyed this conversation but wasn't live with us, never fear, it lives on our Facebook page. They can watch it later, and at some point when you miss it scrolling, you can just go to our website and find it through our YouTube channel. It will live there. And we do encourage you to share it, and if not the actual stream, take something that you learned here today and weave it into a conversation with someone, because that's really how we all make a difference. So everyone have a great weekend. Be well, stay healthy, stay safe. Ladies, thank you so much for spending the time. It was great to see you. And
Thank
see
you
all today, everyone. Be well. Bye-bye.
Take care,
Take care.
everyone.